folks. Craig Lavati here with the Houston Museum of Natural Science. This is, of course, the HMNS Beyond Bones podcast, now available on every single platform for podcasts that you can imagine, including YouTube, including Google Podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, including Spotify and Spreaker, and, well, just any other way that you can ingest podcasts. We're probably on there. Kat, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm actually working from home today.
Showing off your new haircut, your new hairstyle.
Do you like it?
I do. It was really nice. I told you it was really great. I notice haircuts on women because I'm jealous that you guys have hair.
We do.
You can have some of mine.
Alex has hair.
There we go. Alex Ruff is the building manager. I was waiting for that. Alex Ruff is the building manager for HMNS, and he has a long, luxurious set of hair there. I've watched it grow too. Over the past few years, it's gotten like longer and longer. Because when I started, you were clean shaven and you just had kind of like a side part, thing going on. And then over the years, it started to grow and blossom. But we're not here to talk about your hair unless you want to talk about your hair. That's fine too. That's also science, sort of. Science of hair growing. I wanted to have Alex on the show for a long time now, basically to talk about the customer experience at HMNS and to hopefully dispel any fun rumors that you guys may have out there about the museum. We're going to grill Alex here, the building manager, about some tips and tricks that people can use when they go to the museum to have a better experience. Not that we don't already have the most amazing museum in the world, if not the entire galaxy, but is there, just few other things that you can do to make your trip to the museum even better? Alex, what is your background? How did you get to the museum besides driving today?
Well, yeah, every day I live here. Pretty much 7 years ago is when I started. And much like everyone else, I started at the bottom, taking tickets, putting people into seats for shows. And back in the day, we actually had a fun little ride called the Gyro, which some of you may have remembered from some years ago, this big red ball that you could spin in, multi-directional, may cause some nausea, but I worked that for a few years too. But then I worked for our concierge team. So before COVID, I worked as a concierge lead, and before that, I was a part of the team. So I worked very close in hand with all the public and people coming straight in the door. I was the first one to greet them, that kind of stuff. And of course, then time moved on and I started working for security. So I worked from a different aspect here in the museum. So I worked on maintaining the safety of the public. And then I started building manager here shortly. So now I get to help the building run safely and keep the lights on every single day. So I've been here and there throughout the entire museum for many years.
Your background is also, you have a background in gyms and minerals too, I know.
Yeah. So actually before all this, I did do a spot for in the field as a mud logger for a company. And so I've worked a little bit in the field as a geologist, and I went to school for geology. So I do have a background in science. So I kind of appreciate all aspects of science. And that's kind of what brought me here to the museum.
And that's the cool part about the museum too, because you never know who is taking your ticket or helping you in the gift shop or doing any number of things is probably or very possibly science degreed. We have a high level of that at all different positions in the museum. And that's kind of one of the cool things for sure.
Yeah, I've worked closely with chemists, physicists, astrophysicists, you name it. I've dabbled with different people from all different aspects of the job. So I think that's what brings a lot of people here to the museum is the love of science. And that's kind of where everybody starts.
Exactly.
And so as the building manager, what are your main roles like from a 9-to-5 basis? Not even 9 to 5. I'm sure it's a different schedule that I can imagine, but what do you do in your day to day?
I've taken the night shift. So particularly my day starts at 1 p.m. and it generally goes to 9, sometimes later. It depends on what's the needs of the museum. So I keep the lights on, I keep the AC on, the heater, make sure it's running.
Thank you for the AC.
Yes, absolutely. So during the summer, our job is to make sure it's running and, keeping everybody cool. But if we have events, I'm here to make sure that the right lights are on for the people to enjoy, the different exhibits. Because without us, there would be chaos.
I was going to say, speaking of chaos, free Thursdays, what are those like from your perspective?
A little bit different.
Okay.
With the amount of people that we get generally, it does put a lot of stress on the AC.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people crammed into different spots. It can definitely, so we make sure that, again, the AC, it's kind of priority here in Texas. So we make sure those are optimum.
And
maintaining it for the artifacts and the specimens as well. I mean, that's a huge important part with humidity and everything else being a consideration. So y'all's job is important. Like the Texas wildlife, any organic materials need to be maintained at a low temperature, relatively low temperature, and low humidity levels. And so that's on a part, we make sure that stays on.
That's the kind of thing I don't think people think of about with the museum, that it's not cold just because we want to keep people cold, or we're trying to sell hoodies and sweaters in the museum store. It's because we need to keep some of these things cold. And, they're not complaining about they're during the summer.
No, absolutely not.
Or the past week, because apparently summer just started here in Houston.
Lovely week. 90 degrees, huh?
The first week in April. There's just so much, there's so many cool things going on. Right now, I know one of the big issues with the front end staff is when people walk into the grand hall, as we call it, after you get your tickets. A lot of people now are sort of confused because we have some construction going on in the Glassell Hall, and that's the hall where right now we have the big giant earth hung up. There's a big white wall over there, gang. And that white wall is sort of, it's a construction site right now because we're working on a new exhibit called Matter and Motion that opens up in about a year or so. So we're doing a lot of work in there. But I've noticed when I hang out in museum services, when I'm working with all of my media peeps, people always come back to museum services and ask where the dinosaurs went or how to get to the Paleo Hall, or I've even heard, did you get rid of the dinosaurs? As if we would do that. So can you, talk a little bit about that if you can? I just want to learn about, flow of traffic too.
So side note, for many years, actually, it's funny because I do see a lot of the older folks come in and say, hey, did you get rid of the dinosaurs? Because if y'all remember, it used to be in the Glassell Hall. And Correct. So a lot of people that haven't been here in some years, that was their first instinct is, hey, this is where the dinosaurs were. Did you get rid of them? So thankfully, no, we didn't. So a couple tips and tricks on kind of dealing with that situation. Just for general visitation, I recommend people to always, if you're unsure about anything, check your resources. Go online, check HMNS.org, see what's going on. Because we definitely have information daily on important information that you as a guest need to know. But then if you're still unsure, we have a museum hotline you can call and ask any questions you're maybe unsure about. And we have lovely people on the phones. I've actually worked on the phones before, so people may remember me. And I've helped people navigate Herman Park with a GPS and a map. So I've done all the aspects of that. But so let's say it's been a while since you've been in, you first come into the museum. From first look, you're going to have the box office to your left and the gift shop to your right. We are, I now see more and more concierge, which is our essential helpers of the museum. They are the front line of the front line. They will be right there in front of the box office to assist with absolutely anything anybody could ever need, and then some. And so check with them first, because they will have every answer to every question, maybe even some you didn't even know you had. And they actually, we got rid of our physical paper maps a couple of years ago, actually, kind of to help go green. And it's helped some people. And I don't think a lot of people know that we have that option available.
Yeah.
So there are actually QR codes spread all throughout the front to scan those maps. And so first thing, check with concierge, grab your snapshot of that map and pull it up. And that will kind of help plan the rest of your day. Now, everybody's different. So based on how much time you have, you're going to have to start your day a little bit differently. Some people are like, I want absolutely everything, which is completely understandable. I get it. There's so much to see. But if you have a couple days available, I recommend kind of splitting it up because we are big. There are 4 floors available to visit. And so kind of work with your schedule. What do you like? Build your day off of that. And then next thing is about that big wall with the matter in motion. So there is actually a large sign down closer to where our butterfly center is that actually says dinosaur exhibit this way.
Yeah.
So look at the signs. They have postings on both the entrances inside the main museum, kind of giving you a little direction, like where do you go for Ramses or where do you go for dinosaurs? So, and again, there are people all over who are willing to help. So never fear of asking questions. But my recommendation is start up and work your way down. So the paleontology elevators are our central hub. That's how you get all over. And I definitely recommend using those to get up to the 4th floor and then working your way down.
Yeah, because there's the so I guess now if you guys are walking in, the quickest way to the Paleo Hall is the second entrance, and that's the entrance by the butterfly exhibit.
Right.
And like you said, there's a big sign that says dinosaurs this way or something to that effect. I've been asking if we could get some sort of extra signage, like a big giant dinosaur that's like, go see my friends this way. So I know we're working on that right now. But I do want people to understand also to be patient about the construction, because from what I've seen about Matter in Motion, because in about a year, I'm going to have to start promoting that out. It's going to look amazing. It is going to be like walking into a Marvel movie. And I mean that our team is doing an amazing job. But yes, go through that second entrance, and that is your key to the kingdom. And you're going to go past the pendulum. Spend some time over there, gaze at that thing for 20 minutes, and then make your way to the Paleo Hall. But that's a good point, though, about starting at the very top with the Weiss Hall and then sort of working your way down. Obviously, when you get to the 3rd floor, that's Ramses. You need a special ticket for that, and especially to go get a sneak peek of the new Hall of Ancient Egypt. And then on to the 2nd floor, that'd be your Cabinet of Curiosities, the overlook for the Paleo Hall,
Gems and Minerals,
Barish Hall, that sort of thing. Malacology. People need to start remembering the Malacology Hall. I keep forgetting that we need to keep promoting that thing.
It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite visual halls.
Yes, it's really good. And I need to get on that. I need to write that down. We need to talk about it more.
Yeah, Tina Petway, the curator of the exhibit, and our exhibits team did an absolute phenomenal job on lighting and displays and the information. You could literally, if you love seashells just in general, you could spend an hour there, no problem.
I think we have like the finest collection in the country, if not maybe
the world. Yeah,
especially in our
and that's not including
this. Well.
I was going to say that's not even including the stuff I've seen offsite, special secret, double secret, triple guarded, with the flying monkeys outside, offsite storage unit. Like it's not a big block size building that has all that stuff over there. So yes, definitely that's the one thing is all of our staff were there to help out. And you've probably, if you guys are, your listeners to the show or you go to the museum quite a bit, you've probably seen me walking around and I will randomly ask people if they need help. If you look like you're lost, I'm going to ask you what you can do or where you need to go see. I love doing that. That's one
literally everybody will help you, from the frontline staff to anybody walking around the hallways. We probably have one of the most helpful, friendly staff. And I think that's the absolute truth. I mean, I walk people way out of my way to make sure they get where they want to be and have a good experience,
because the last thing we want to hear is, and I, in my team, we handle all the social media stuff. Last thing we want to hear is that somebody had a bad time or they couldn't find something, because
Right.
everything, unless, a hall is closed temporarily. And a lot of times, Alex, you can attest to this too. We have to do maintenance on these halls during the week sometimes, so we can get ready for the weekend for the thousands of people that come through. What are some of the biggest and strike that? What are some of the funniest questions you've ever got working in the front lines? Hello, Kitty in the corner.
They're everywhere.
I know. Yeah, Alex, what are some of the funniest questions you've ever received in your 7 years at the museum?
Oh gosh, the list is extensive. The questions, they never cease. But I've a funny story. I've actually kind of, I wouldn't say become desensitized to the random, because no question is dumb. No question is stupid.
No.
And I enjoy answering the most ridiculous questions, and because it helps people grow and helps me kind of get the mindset of what people are asking. But I guess a few that were kind of interesting were, what did the mummies smell like, for one?
Yes, that's a common one.
That's very common. The most common one, are the dinosaurs real? Just a lot of things is this real? Is that real? But again, I don't see them as crazy anymore, because they're real questions.
I think those are great questions. And I will tell you that I know for a fact that mummies have a very distinct smell.
Yeah.
Cinnamon beef jerky, right?
No.
I've always been, Tom Hardwick told me cinnamon and beef jerky.
Tom's pulling your leg.
Okay. What is the smell then?
It's hard to describe.
It's very hard to describe. To me, maybe a little musty, like an
old book.
Yeah, kind of earthy-ish, sort of.
If I have, so an old book, an old musty bookstore.
They don't smell as good as that.
They don't smell as good as that. It's a little bad, a little good.
Just they smell like mummies.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, but people don't.
I know, it's a bad answer.
It's one of those where it's very, very lucky to be able to actually be able to smell one. So,
that is true. That is true.
To be able to describe it is well, it smells like a mummy, because it's a very unique experience. But it's not bad by any means. It's not bad.
What we need is a scratch and sniff card.
Oh, scratch and sniff mummy, scratch and sniff.
In the museum store, let's have a card. Have a card, and you can scratch it, and as you go through all 4 floors,
and we can call it smells of the museum.
Yes, smell-o-vision, or some sort of HMNS smell.
Smell-o-museum.
Yes, because you guys probably saw. Alex, I don't know if you saw it or not, but on April Fools, we released a video about our cologne.
Yes,
the museum was putting out.
Much.
You could travel the ends of the earth and still whiff on the chance to catch a whiff of the most exotic scent, the very essence of nature's wild fury. Strike by HMNS. In the Farish Hall of Texas Wildlife, engage the skunk with this pose. And let your inner beast awaken within. Strike by HMNS. Command the presence of every room. Turn every head. Leave your mark on the world around you. Become an aromatic juggernaut. With Strike by HMNS.
So there you have it, folks. We released a new cologne just in time for April 1st. Engage the skunk in you. That was the paid advertisement for a fake cologne that we're selling here at the museum. Other question you said you had was, are the dinosaurs real? What's our base question for that? What's our base answer, I guess?
So, common rule of thumb, you look at the metal supporting the bones. If the bones themselves have metal bars running through them, that generally means that they're replicated. And a lot of times when you look at Stan, he's actually one of the most replicated T-Rexes, just because his bones are really good, good bones. And so basically he is kind of all one piece. Whereas if you look at Jason, where Dipsy, our Diplodocus, is, she has individual bones that are separated and being held up by steel supports. And so that's your general rule of thumb when you're looking at the dinosaurs, to tell if it's a replicated or a real. But funny story, kind of back before modern science, I guess. Well, it was modern for a long time, but early days of science, and specifically paleontology, like during the Cope and Marsh eras, they weren't so much concerned with the science and protecting of the fossils. And so they were more speedy at just drilling holes, sticking it on supports and shoving it in museums to get it on display, saying, hey, look at what I found. And so early fossils, some actually do have supports running through them. And so with those, you would have to go case by case basis and do some research on where the dinosaur came from, who mounted it, and that kind of stuff, because early fossils, it's hard to tell. But for the most part, generally, most fossils nowadays that are found have been supported bones individually, rather than, like Stan, where the bones are connected by steel pipes.
And my answer always was to talk them through how a fossil forms in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So even these replicas that are made from high quality molds are definitionally, is that right?
I don't know if that's
kind of could be a fossil, because it's a material that's filled a cavity been. So anyway,
it's a fossil of a fossil.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know that the Dimetrodon section too, those guys are mostly complete as well, because they came from our dig site, from Seymour. Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Robert Bacher, who we are trying to get to come back to the museum for a special appearance. I promise you, people only ask once a week. We're trying. I was at dinner there the night with David Temple, and Bacher called, and I was like, oh my God, tell him to come to the museum. I want him to do a lecture. We're trying.
Love to see Dr. Bacher again.
We're trying. He's crotchety. He's crotchety. He's a curmudgeon, but we'd love to have him back. It would be a lot of fun. And I can also show him around town. I would love to do that. What about the parking garage? Do we have any tips and tricks for the parking garage?
Well, that's a very touchy subject.
I was like, oh God.
I knew it was going to be touchy, but obviously.
So, as of right now, currently both elevators in the garage are working.
Yes.
We're constantly making sure that they're up and working to the best of our ability. And so that will definitely assist with making movement in the garage easier. Now, one thing that people kind of forget is we are an educational museum where school groups come very regularly and in masses. And so roughly from 9 a.m. to about 12 to 1 p.m., we are open to tons and tons of field trips. With that in mind, there are chaperones that will drive and park in the museum as well. So in the morning time, generally that tends to kind of be heavily chaperone, and that can actually cause the garage to fill up rapidly.
That's during the week, usually from Monday through Friday.
During the week, of course. During the weekend, the zoo, people will park here from the zoo, because I did notice that the zoo has kind of regulated times still, and the parking lot at the zoo fills up very rapidly. And so that can also cause some strain on our parking garage as well. I know people have been known to drive around for up to an hour to look for a spot around here.
Yeah.
One thing I definitely recommend is utilize the light rail, the red line. that is our friend. You can actually park really far away and just take the light rail and
Right.
get off right here across the street from the museum. And, that is a very important tool to helping traffic around here. And I think some forget that. And I know a lot of people who are not from around here don't know that exists. So for those, again, utilize the internet, look up information about transportation around Houston, and then just kind of call ahead. I know I keep saying that, but generally that can be your first line of defense and figuring out your plan once you get here. But
in other times are busier. Sometimes they're busier than others. Like summer, for instance, we have a lot going on. Everybody's on vacation. We have summer camp. So, you've got to really make a plan before you come, and it'll
spring
make
break
it so much
spring
easier.
break was a good test for summer.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and guys, we also we label every level of the parking garage. If you guys have noticed, I always post on Twitter all the funny little things we have in the garage. And we have names for every dinosaur correlated to every single level of the parking garage, so you can remember where you parked. What's your favorite level of the garage?
I actually Acrocanthosaurus actually is my favorite.
4?
I believe so.
4? Okay, yes.
Either that or Diplodocus is 4. I don't really remember.
And you can buy you can pay your parking garage ticket in the gift shop now, which has been going on for a while, but that's really important too, because you do have to pay before you leave, or it's easier to pay before you leave than any other way.
We also have a kiosk inside the Grand Hall across from Zoltar that you can purchase parking from as well.
Only in the museum would you go, we have a kiosk across from Zoltar. And it's true. That's where it is.
Yeah.
There's just so many. So do you guys have any, I'm going to go one by one here. Do you have any, Kat, what are your quick little tips and tricks for people that are coming to HMNS? Like what should they do first? What are some cool hacks?
My tips and tricks are
yours.
Sure. Okay. Well, I like to tell families, especially because I'm in youth education, I have a high focus on kids, and I'm like, if you have little ones and even adults for that matter, I love to send them towards Cabinet of Curiosities, because they're allowed to touch. There's drawers to pull open. You can be nosy. Kids love opening and shutting drawers. There's lots of stuff to look at. So that's one of my big tips and tricks, especially for ones with kiddos. I save the dinosaur hall for last. That's my other trip. I kind of like what Alex said, working your way from top to bottom is great, because you're going to start sort of in the noisy, cacophonous hall of energy, do all the ride, the little experiential rides and stuff up there, and just sort of work your way down. And just have a plan, especially if you have children or adults that need help with mobility. There's ways to do it with a low level of frustration, but you do probably should have a plan. So that's what I always tell my friends and family who are coming to the museum. So.
And you can always purchase your stuff ahead of time too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
And like I said, I guess for me, it's just always ask us questions. We love helping out. Alex and his team and every other little squad we have there. We love helping out. One of my tricks, this is for parents. If you need some coffee, if you need a little pick me up, you go over to the periodic table, which is our cafe that has cookies and snacks and stuff like that. Order one of our cold brew iced coffees, but tell them don't put water in it. Just get straight up gasoline, and that will set you good for the whole day. Because believe me, when I'm up there, I'm usually running around making sure that TV crews can get what they want, interviews and things like that. I need that. So I always go down there and get my gasoline coffee. The staff down there knows Craig's coming. Craig just wants the straight up, unfiltered, completely concentrated coffee, and that gets me going, and it will definitely make you a little bit more energetic in there. And I'm pretty sure when you go to the butterfly exhibit, the butterflies smell the coffee and they will want to flutter all around you because you're sweating that coffee out. So do that. That is one of my tips. Also, man, oh God, I was going to say too, another tip is always buy all of our bug snacks in the museum store. Get your kids into eating bugs. That's one of my favorite joys that we have over there, is all the funny little bugs that you can eat.
And wear bright colors if you're going to the Butterfly Center, if you would
That
like
too.
to.
Yes.
Yeah,
that
pinks
too.
and reds.
And I've seen sort of like a long range schedule for the museum for the next few years. Believe me, folks, we have a lot of interesting things coming on all floors, from the, I guess, would we call it the lower level, or do we call it the basement?
Lower level.
Both, but lower level.
Yeah. So the lower level is where our educational department is. That's where Kat usually is when she's working from the when she's at the museum, all the way to the top. But the lower level right now is where we have Body Worlds. And we'll have Body Worlds there until around Labor Day or so. So you still have time the rest of the summer to see Body Worlds. Yes, we have bodies in our basement. You can definitely check out that. But I know there's another thing coming down there in the next year or so that is going to, well, how do I put this? It's going to have some teeth to it. I'll say that much, but I can't say anything else. There's going to be some teeth to that one. You're going to really, you're really going to chomp down on the subject matter. And that's all I can say.
First, we have bodies in the basement. Then we have things that are going to eat you in the basement. I don't know about that basement.
There's going to be some interesting things going on. Also, too, like I said, Matter in Motion. I brought that up. That big white wall that you see over there by the pendulum. Rest assured, we're not just closing it off because it looks funny or we like to make things harder for you. That's actually a construction zone. And when Matter in Motion opens in a year, you are going to say, thank you, Craig. Thank you for telling us about how awesome this was going to be. We love it.
It'll be worth it.
Because you will. Alex, what are some other cool things coming up at the museum that you'd like to sort of promote or bring up?
So you kind of gave a hint already about that lower level exhibit. That's going to be beyond crazy. But Matter of Motion. Oh, our Hall of the Americas will be reopening soon.
Yes. Hall of the Americas on level 3 right now is another construction zone. That's why you can't quite go that direction. We've had Dr. Dirk on here a few times already talking about it. I filmed a little behind the scenes episode with Rodney, who's also working on that. And that is going to be quite the amazing exhibit as well. HOA, Hall of the Americas, the John C. McGovern Hall of the Americas. One thing I know about this new exhibit, and I think Kat has been in on some of these meetings too, this is going to be an exhibit that evolves, that when we will change out the information, when we get new information, it will definitely be one of the first museum exhibitions that are out there that actually is updated constantly with new information. So we're doing that with all sorts of new technological advances. Museums over the next 20 years, guys, are going to be, well, we've always used this word immersive, but it's going to get way more immersive, and there's going to be a lot more experiential things going on. And I really do think that Hall of the Americas will be dazzling for us. And and people are going to learn a lot about each other, I think, through that exhibit. So thank you for bringing that up, Alex. That was totally, I think I've had that, I just wasn't at the forefront of my brain. So now thank you for reminding me. But yes, that will be a cool one. So what is your favorite hall? Is it Gems and Minerals, or do you?
Yeah, probably. I hate to be, cliche, but Gems and Minerals is by far just one of my favorite. And I prefer the uncut, raw, natural minerals as opposed to the cut gems. I do have an appreciation for cut gems, of course. But I like them as they come out of the ground. Just the nature and the beauty of what nature is capable of. It's fantastic.
And I believe that's another hall too. And I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but that's another hall that is going to be getting updated as well. So
okay.
Yeah.
I do know that it changes kind of regularly already. We do swap pieces in and out fairly regularly. So there's always something new. If you come by it, you will never see the same thing twice for very long.
For sure. Guys, thank you for jumping on with us today, Alex. I know you're a busy dude. I'm glad you were able to clock in and help us out today. Kat, anything else?
Nope. I am just writing about other secret, wonderful things that are going to be happening in the future at the museum. So I'm excited. There's a lot going on.
The other day I heard about blah, 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 and this and that, and what's it called? And
I feel like we're like
thing,
TMZ or something, but for museums.
I don't want to. I have to keep on. I have to stop talking.
Okay.
I have to shut my mouth because I've already given away too much.
It's
Guys,
hard.
the next few years are going to be amazing. Definitely get yourself a membership. Definitely get yourself a family membership. It's going to be a blast at the museum. That was not a hint about anything else that's happening, but for sure. I should
mention too, there's free memberships on free Thursdays if you come at a certain time.
First come, first serve, yeah.
I think that's still going on and it is going to run out eventually. But, if your family is in need of something like that, it's a great opportunity to come up and you can be a member of the museum.
Yes. Free Thursdays are 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. every Thursday. And I believe during the summer, we're going to change those hours up a little bit. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned on all of our social channels. That's pretty much HMNS on everything, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Geez, I think we're even on Pinterest.
We are.
Yeah, Mike runs the Pinterest account. Yeah,
that makes me laugh.
Yeah. Mike runs Pinterest and TikTok. So guys, definitely the next few years at the museum are going to be epic.